Hello everyone, this is Beastly Eel here, and in today's video we're going to be doing an anime character spotlight on Katsuki Bakugo. Now, for those of you who don't know who that is, he is from My Hero Academia, and I will just be calling him Bakugo, because it'll be easier for me. But he plays a major role in My Hero Academia. In fact, that he is basically Deku's arch enemy, then turned partner, then turned training partner, then turned rival. So it's a wonderful cluster of who knows what, right? So his hero name he wants to go by is Great Explosion Murder God Dynamite. He's not really understanding the whole idea of being a hero sometimes, mostly due with the name. But he wants to become a pro hero and has attended UA High School, where he's in Class 1A, some of the best of the best. And so, first off, let's talk about his personality. So he's crude, arrogant, short-tempered, and just an aggressive person overall. So he's especially shown this at the beginning of the series. He comes off very unheroic. His problematic behavior goes all the way back to his early childhood days, when he was known to bully young, quirkless Midoriya. He's shown to be extremely arrogant, condescending to those around him, often bragging about his quirk powers, and even boasting that he could take on the entire middle school without even an issue. He's also dreamed about becoming a hero, but he hates Midoriya, specifically because he's quirkless and he wants to be a hero, and he calls him Deku because the meaning is useless and unable to achieve anything, as that's what it really stands for. And he keeps calling him that to get to the point that you're not going to ever be a hero. And he was furious when the two of them both passed their entrance exams, because he wanted to be the only one of their middle school to actually make it to UA. So, after being accepted into UA, he experienced several personal defeats, one of them coming from Deku himself, which he was not happy about whatsoever. He often was betrayed negatively, especially when he was dealing with just trying to be a member of the team. He wanted to be by himself and be the best, not working with anybody, and it was because of that where he had a lot of downfalls because of it. Determined and thirsty for victory, Bakugo smiles eerily when in the middle of a battle. He's incredibly focused on achieving his victories, and has learned to never underestimate his opponents. He's also he's not only very athletic, but he's also talented at fighting. But he's also intelligent and extremely perceptive and capable strategist in the middle of a battle, and he's also able to improv very well. His grades were some of the highest in the class. He was known to he already knew how to read perfectly by the age of 4, and he treats studying very seriously. He also possesses surprising talent in other areas, such as cooking, music, and even though he doesn't show a particular interest in them, which is nice. He's also considered to be a natural-born genius and potential to be one of the greatest pro heroes around, based on his quirks and abilities alone. Now, while he's a rather violent hero in training, he's smart enough to discern who his enemies and who his allies are. He's not particularly nice or open with the people who are on his side, or anyone else for that matter, to be honest with you, and he acts less unfriendly and sometimes even kind to those who manage to earn his respect. Because of his attitude and vulgar language, Bakugo's UA classmates often react negatively to him. Although they can come to appreciate his skills and warm up to his personality, Bakugo matures slowly throughout his time at UA, coming to befriend some of his classmates and willing to engage in social interactions with them, though remaining solitary for the most part. Now, Bakugo has a habit of giving horrible nicknames to people. So he gives Tenya Ida 4 eyes because of his glasses. dunce face because of his Denki, because of his call him dunce face because of his electrification quirk that dulls his thinking. Shoto, he calls him half and half or icy hot because his dual quirk and appearance and so on. He also refers to people who he doesn't know as extras because he feels like they're not even worth his time to be given a nickname. Bakugo tends to disregard the notion that quirks shouldn't be used in public, and he will activate his quirk for a number of reasons, such as intimidating somebody, to punctuate a point, out of frustration, or even just to be showing off. He doesn't seem to really care much about the others, how others think of him, barely containing himself from violent behavior, although he avoids other typical delinquent practices like underage smoking and drinking. And Bakugo values honesty highly and never lies, to the point that his brash condor is seen by some as rude and insensitive. But he's being honest to himself and to everyone else, so he doesn't really care. He is never afraid of speaking his mind, and he doesn't really care what anybody thinks of him. But he's also an excellent judge of character, and it's very hard to deceive him. So once he knows you're faking something, he knows it, and he wants to know everything about it, which is kind of why him and Deku had such an issue for a long time, mostly due to the fact because the two of them, excuse me, because Deku hid the fact of how he became in possession of a quirk, and Bakugo, knew exactly that he was lying, but didn't know exactly why he was lying or how he was lying or any of that. So he was not happy overall, and that's why he didn't like Deku at all. So, during the contest, due to constant praise of his abilities and powerful quirk, Bakugo has developed a superiority complex, and because of that, he desires to be the first and best at everything. And he pointed out by many people, he loves to win above all else and cannot stand when he doesn't, leading him to lose his already short temper and less often sulking. He's fiercely competitive and will never settle less than the number one spot. And he has a compulsiveness and need to always strive for victory and also prove to people who doubt him wrong. So he values hard work and fair play to the point of refusing to acknowledge a winning result if he feels his victory was not earned out of merit. And this was shown especially during the sports festival when he thought that to the Shoto, because he felt like Shoto was not using his full strength, both his ice and fire quirks. So because of that, he did not accept his victory in the sports festival. Now, because of his quirks and talents, he is very confident and brave, as we've already talked about, and he is willing to go up against anyone who challenges him, no matter where they are. And in fact, he went up against All Might without any issue whatsoever, mostly due to the fact that he's not afraid to go after him. Especially when they were in their final exam, he went after him right away to prove a point. He's immensely prideful and prefers to act alone, and in fact, if he ever gets knocked down or anything else, he refuses help from anybody, and he's not happy with it. He's also a perfectionist, and when he's a leader, he is not happy unless everyone on his team is doing the best that he expects them to be. Now, he also often has difficulty accepting his mistakes and shortcomings, and denies them when they are pointed out by others, regardless of who does it. Bakugo doesn't listen to advice, and having to come to realize his faults and how to somewhat improve on them thanks to the words and actions of other people like All Might and Best Jeanist, who both of them really, really kind of beat into him that he's not a great hero yet because he doesn't know what he's doing. Yes, he has a great quirk. Yes, he has great skills and everything else, but that's not all it takes to be a hero. And it's because of those things that he really realized that he needs to focus more on everything else than it is about more focusing on the overall hero aspect and not so much just being the most powerful hero. That it takes more than just that. Sorry. He's also been shown to be hypocritical at times. He's advised a kid that if he continued to look down on others, that he would not realize his own mistakes, which I find hilarious, only because he does the same exact thing. Now, also when he does the joint training arc, he proceeds to call all of his teammates underlings, and calling all the one-for-all users nobodies because they did not possess strong quirks. During his internship at the Endeavor Agency, he berates Vernon for speaking so loudly in the morning, despite having been scolded by his mother for doing the very same thing. He wants to be the greatest hero of all time, and he'll be doing anything, anything, anything to do so. But overall, he's definitely an interesting individual. So let's talk about his abilities. So his overall abilities, I mean, he is phenomenal. He's an expert. He's got expert combat prowess. I mean, he can take down people like you wouldn't believe. Now, his fighting style is all offense and really doesn't care about defense. But he is also able to use his explosion quirk to propel himself through mid-air and blind opponents, also release long-range blasts, among other applications. He not only knows how to use his quirk, he knows how to use it in such a versatile way that he can use it in battle effortlessly, and that's what he, kind of praises himself on. And with his ability to really understand the situations, he can use his intelligence to kind of basically beat everyone with ease. So he has enhanced strength, he has enhanced reflexes, mostly due to the fact with his quirk, enhanced durability, keen intellect, great leadership skills. Even though he is very critical of his team, he does know what needs to be done, even though he might not be doing it in the most proper way. And then the two other ones is like cooking skills and music talent that aren't as important, but it's nice to know that he's, good at other things as well. Now, his quirk overall is explosion. So it allows him to secrete nitroglycerin like sweat from his palms of his hands and ignite it on command, allowing him to create strong explosions. And the more he sweats, the stronger his explosions become. Now, if he overuses this power, his forearms will start to ache. Bakugo has a strong grip on the applications of his quirk. Sometimes that was acknowledged by Best Jeanist, one of the top pro heroes. Not only can he use the explosions for attacking, but he can use them to propel himself, navigate through the air at high speeds, allowing him to fly at his opponents without giving them time to react, as well as evade incoming attacks even while in the air. And the shockwave from an explosion can even be used as a shield. Now, he can use this explosions continuously long enough to break Injiro's hardening quirk and negate Shoto's heaven-piercing ice wall. Heaven-piercing ice wall, for a short while being overwhelmed. After, as part of his training, Bakugo submerged his hands in the boiling water to expand his sweat glands, and then created chains explosions towards the sky to increase the scale of his attacks. Now, he has some ultimate moves. Explosive speed, which he throws his hands back and makes explosions to propel himself forward. He has a stun grenade, which he uses as more of a flashbang. He has Howitz Impact, Impact. This move is his strongest move on his arsenal, which involves Bakugo taking into the air and then using explosions to propel himself in a circular motion to create a tornado. The tornado builds up oxygen to fuel the incoming explosion. After colliding with the target, Bakugo releases the powerful explosion, and Present Mike compared the effectiveness of this technique to that of an actual missile. He has AP shot, which he actually closes his hand and puts his hand like this and creates a shot that is much more, an explosion that is much more accurate. And he has different variations of it. He has the autocannon, which is a rapid-fire version of it, and then he has the machine gun, which is a stronger version of the autocannon. He has the Explodapult, which was while mid-air, he can grab an opponent with one arm, then propel himself in a spinning motion and firing explosions with his free arm, and which gains enough momentum and forcibly throws his opponent with the aid of the explosion. He has a landmine blast, which he places an explosive bracer on the ground and lets a massive explosion into the ground, blowing back any obstacles surrounding him. He also has clusters, which he condenses his explosions to become stronger and faster, allowing him to unleash a flurry of bursts. And he his equipment has his embracers, which actually his storage tanks that were added to his costume that actually store his sweat, which can allow him to use a massive explosion that he wouldn't normally be able to do on his own. Now, in this school, and he's been kind of graded upon, obviously, in multiple ways. So there are 5 different areas in the Ultra Archive, and then there's Ultra Analysis. So in the 5 categories in Ultra Archive, now everything's out of 5. So we have power, speed, technique, intelligence, and cooperativeness. His power is a 5 out of 5. His speed is a 4 out of 5. His technique is a 5 out of 5. His intelligence is a 4 out of 5. And then his cooperativeness, well, that's a 1 out of 5. Now, that shouldn't be all that surprising. For those of you who know him, he's not really much of a team player. Now, the Ultra Analysis goes a little bit different. So it goes power, speed, technique, wits, and proper language. Now, this is apparently out of 6. So his power, speed, technique, and wits are all 5 out of 6, although his technique is slightly more than a 5, but not quite a 6, because it's got an A+ instead of an A. And then his proper language, especially when dealing with stress situations, he's been given a 1 out of 6 because of his, well, he's mean to everybody, and that includes the people he's trying to save as well. Now, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is this a character you like, not like? Do you like My Hero Academia? Let me know in the comments below. I definitely like this character. He's kind of a pain in the butt, but I kind of think of him as like the Vegeta of this series. And I definitely like that, where he's got a much greater story arc that's going to be happening because he wasn't always the best hero in the sense of like personality-wise, but he always had great talent. And when up against other people with great talent and also great social skills, he falls very short, and it's because of that we see that he has got a lot to prove to everybody, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes forward later. Now, definitely like him. Cannot wait for the next season of My Hero Academia to see how far he goes. But that being said, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a great night.